He's too stupid to realize I've been cheating on him for years.
Keep laughing. It's your last night in this house.
I wasn't supposed to hear it. It was one of those nights where everything feels off, but you can't explain why. I come home late from a double shift at the garage, still smelling like oil and metal. The house was empty, which wasn't unusual lately. Emily had girl nights more often than I cared to count. I figured she was out again with her two hyena friends, Maddie and Lisa. Women who somehow managed to laugh even when nothing was funny. I dropped my keys in the dish, kicked off my boots, and was just about to shower when I noticed her iPad blinking on the kitchen counter. I didn't think twice. It was hers, and we respected each other's privacy. Or at least I did. But then I heard it. It wasn't just background noise, it was a FaceTime call still running. I picked it up without thinking, and the screen came alive with three faces. My wife Emily, Maddie, and Lisa. All three of them were tipsy. Eyes half closed, cheeks flushed red, drinks sloshing in their glasses. I should have shut it off. I should have walked away. But the second I heard my name, I froze. "Oh my God," Maddie said, already laughing. "And he still doesn't know?" Emily leaned in close, her voice slurred and smug. "Are you kidding? Jason is too stupid to realize I've been cheating on him for years." The table erupted in laughter. Sharp, cruel, and unfiltered. I felt like someone had punched me in the throat. "He probably thinks I'm at yoga when I'm actually getting, she winked at the screen, worked out by someone who actually knows what to do." Lisa choked on her drink. "You're so bad." Emily shrugged. "It's not my fault he's boring. I mean, come on. He still buys me flowers and kisses my forehead like some sad sitcom husband." More laughter. I stood there, gripping the edge of the counter so hard my knuckles turned white. I didn't speak. I didn't breathe. I didn't even blink. It was like watching my entire world rot in real time. They kept laughing, talking, making plans, sharing stories, ones that sounded like jokes to them but felt like knives to me. I heard the names, the places, the details. And Emily, she didn't even sound like the woman I married. She sounded like a stranger, a snake in my bed for years, hissing lies with every kiss goodnight. I ended the call, quietly, calmly, and then I sat down. For 3 hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't smash the iPad, even though I wanted to bury it in the wall. I just sat there in the kitchen, surrounded by the cheap candles and fake marble she insisted we buy, to make the place feel more like a home. What a joke. The house was decorated, sure. But home? No, not anymore. When the front door creaked open, it was nearly 2 a.m. Emily stumbled in, barefoot and glittered in perfume, holding her heels in one hand. Her lipstick was smudged, and her blouse was wrinkled like she'd been laid out across something, or someone. I didn't say a word. She blinked, surprised. "You're still up." I didn't answer. She dropped her shoes. "What's with the face?" "Still nothing." She snorted. "Oh, come on. Don't give me that look. It was just wine night." I stared at her like I was seeing a ghost, or worse, the demon that wore my wife's skin. She waved a hand. "You're being weird," and walked straight past me to the fridge like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't just confessed to a multi-year betrayal on a drunken call. Like I didn't just watch my marriage collapse in 360p video with perfect audio. She grabbed a bottle of water and turned back around. "You good?" she asked. Her tone had shifted. Less playful, more annoyed. "What's your problem?" I stood up, slowly, walked to the front door, opened it. She tilted her head. "What are you doing?" I pointed. "Leave." She laughed like it was a joke. "Are you serious?" I didn't answer, just pointed again. The silence between us felt like a loaded gun. Her face dropped. "Jason, what the hell? You said I was too stupid to figure it out," I said. "Turns out I just gave you too much credit." And then I shut the door. Hard. Behind her. She didn't knock. Not that night. But the next morning and the next after that, she showed up crying. Flowers. Apologies. Promises. She thought it was going to be the same old story. The sad husband. The forgiving fool. What she got instead. Let's just say, it was a surprise she never expected. The knock came at 9:06 a.m. Not frantic. Not urgent. Just soft. Rehearsed. Manipulative. Like she practiced how to sound sorry without being sorry. I stood on the other side of the door with a mug of coffee in one hand and my phone in the other. I had barely slept. When I did, it was the kind of sleep where your body shuts down, but your brain plays the same scene over and over. Her laugh. That sentence. He's too stupid to realize I've been cheating for years. I didn't move when the knocking came again. Jason, she said through the wood. Please, let me in. Silence. Can we talk? Just talk. I need to explain. Explain? That was rich. I didn't think there was a version of, I've been letting other men into our bed while you worked overtime, that had a reasonable explanation. But sure, let's hear it. I opened the door. Not wide. Just enough for her to see my face. She looked like a mess. Tear-stained cheeks. Makeup halfway down her jaw. Clutching a Starbucks cup like it was going to grant her forgiveness. It wouldn't. Jason, she whispered, voice trembling. Can I come in? I stepped aside. Not for her, but because I wanted her to see it. The living room. Everything she owned, shoes, designer bags, framed pictures, a stupid throw blanket with her initials on it, was stacked neatly in boxes. I'd stayed up all night gathering it like a man performing an exorcism. Every cursed object, every reminder of the lie she'd wrapped me in. All boxed and labeled. She froze. What is this? Your things. She stared at the boxes like they might bite her. You're throwing me out? I raised an eyebrow. You thought I'd make you breakfast? She walked past me, ignoring the boxes, trying to reset the narrative. Jason, baby, listen. I was drunk last night. You know how Maddie and Lisa get. They exaggerate everything. They always have. You know me. Yeah, I said. I do know you. That's why this hurts. She blinked, lips parting like she was surprised to hear pain in my voice. Surprised I wasn't shouting or throwing things. Like my calm was more dangerous than rage. She stepped closer. I stepped back. Okay. She tried again, adjusting her tone. Yes, I was drunk. And yes, I said something stupid, but it didn't mean anything. It was just talk. I would never really. I held up my phone. On the screen was the full FaceTime recording. I'd screen recorded it the moment I heard her voice say the words. Just instinct, I guess. Proof. For me. Maybe for court. She went pale. You recorded it? I watched it 5 times before dawn. I said. Every second. Every giggle. Every detail. Jason. I played a clip. Her voice echoed through the living room. He still doesn't know? Are you kidding? Jason is too stupid to realize I've been cheating for years. She covered her mouth. Like that would take it back. Please delete it, she whispered. That's private. So was our marriage. She tried again. Okay, fine. Yes, I cheated. A few times. It wasn't serious. You cheated for years, I corrected. Multiple guys. Different names. Different stories. I had needs. She snapped suddenly, like her real self just cracked through the mask. You're always tired. You're boring. You don't excite me anymore. There it was. The venom behind the tears. I nodded slowly. I see. I made a mistake. She backpedaled. Okay, maybe more than one. But we can work through it. We've been through so much. We have history. You love me. I looked her dead in the eyes. I did. That silence between us stretched into something permanent. Something final. I was your wife. She tried, softer now. Doesn't that mean anything? I pointed to the boxes. Apparently not to you. She moved toward me, reaching out, but I stepped aside again. I didn't want her hands on me. Not after knowing where they'd been. Not after those laughs. Not after the lies. Take your stuff, I said. You've got until noon. And if I don't? She challenged, that old defiance flashing in her eyes. I'll set it on fire. Her jaw dropped. You're bluffing. Try me. And for the first time, she believed me. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't playing the fool. I shut the door again, and this time, it stayed closed. By 12:03 p.m. She hadn't shown. I gave her a 3-minute grace period. Not because I was soft. Not anymore. But because I knew her. Emily always played the clock. Late to dinners. Late to holidays. Late to apologies. She thought delay was power. That if she made someone wait, they'd cave first. Not today. I grabbed my phone, opened the app, and ordered the courier. Package weight. The guy asked. Roughly 60 pounds of designer lies and broken promises. I said. He didn't laugh. Just typed and said they'd be there in 15. When the van pulled into the driveway, I wheeled out 3 boxes. One labeled clothes, another shoes plus accessories, and the last one, I made sure he read it, said lies in thick black Sharpie. It held every photo, every card, every scrap of sentiment she'd weaponized over the years. You want this delivered where? He asked. I handed him the slip. Her office. She worked at a real estate firm in the city, one of those sleek glass tower setups where everyone pretends to be friends while stabbing each other in the back over commission. She'd climbed the ladder there by batting eyelashes and whispering promises she never intended to keep. I didn't know how many of those guys she'd entertained, but I knew at least 2 by name now. Deliver it right to the front desk, I said. Ask for Emily Carter. Loudly. The driver raised an eyebrow. You sure? Very. He nodded and drove off. And with him went the last physical pieces of her I ever wanted in my house. 37 minutes later, I got a text. From unknown number. Are you insane? You sent my things to my job. In front of everyone. I didn't respond. I just blocked the number. If she wanted to scream, she could scream into the void. An hour passed. Then another. By 3 p.m., there was a knock at my door again. Harder this time. I didn't answer. Jason. Open the F***king door. Still didn't answer. I swear to God. You've humiliated me. You've destroyed my career. Oh, you destroyed our marriage. So now we're even. I opened the door just a crack. She was furious. Red in the face, hair messy, heels in her hand again. Always with the heels. And the box labeled lies shoved against her hip. You think this is funny? She seethed. Not really, I said. But it's appropriate. You embarrassed me in front of my coworkers. You embarrassed me in front of your lovers. She blinked, thrown off by the calm. Like she expected me to match her volume, her venom. People were watching, Jason. So were mine. For years. Friends. Family. Everyone who believed our little story. She scoffed. So this is revenge? No, I said. This is closure. She stared at me for a long second, waiting for a crack in my face, some twitch of regret. There was none. You're not even heartbroken, she snapped. That one hit me, because I was, but I'd already bled every tear I had on that cold kitchen floor at 3 a.m., while she was out playing pretend in some hotel room with a guy who probably didn't even know her middle name. Now I was just done. I said. Now I'm just clean. Her jaw tightened. You think you'll find someone better than me? She spat. I know I'll find someone who respects me. That's not love, she barked. No, I said. But it's a start. She didn't have a comeback for that. She just stood there, nostrils flared, lip trembling. Not from sadness. From losing. Because that's all this ever was for her. A game she played while I worked myself numb, trying to build us a life she never planned to protect. She dropped the box at my feet. You're king coward. No, I said. I just finally found my spine. I stepped back and started to close the door. I hope you rot, she whispered. I already did, I said. When I was married to you. And then I shut the door. Again. And this time, she didn't come back. I thought that would be the end of it. But endings aren't always clean. Sometimes, they unravel before they conclude. And sometimes you find out that even after the final door slam, there's still rot left to clear out. It started with the voicemails. By day 2, my phone had 6 missed calls, all from unknown numbers. I didn't answer a single one. but curiosity got the better of me. Not to reconnect, not to entertain her, but to hear what kind of story she was spinning now. First voicemail. Jason, please. I didn't mean for you to find out like that. Can we please just talk like adults? Second.
I'm sorry.
I swear I am. It didn't mean anything. I just got lost. You have to believe me. Third. Fine. You want to play hardball? I'll tell everyone what you did. You're not so innocent either. There it was. The shift. Guilt to gaslight. Apology to accusation. It was her signature move. If she couldn't control you with guilt, she'd try fear. But what exactly had I done wrong? Trusted her? Paid her bills? Listened to her complain about life while I spent mine building one for us? Fourth voicemail. You're destroying everything we've built, Jason. I loved you, damn it. I still love you. Don't throw this away. Click. I deleted them all. Not because they didn't sting, they did, but because I didn't want her voice infecting my peace anymore. But the real twist came a few hours later. It wasn't her who knocked this time. It was Maddie. Yes, that Maddie. One of the laugh track witches from the FaceTime call. The same Maddie who chuckled when Emily bragged about cheating on me for years. The same Maddie who once toasted to Emily's second life, while I was in the kitchen making everyone drinks. I opened the door cautiously, arms crossed. You're lost. She looked uncomfortable. For the first time ever, I might add. Jason, she said, eyes darting away. I wanted to say something. You have 30 seconds. She fidgeted with the strap of her purse. I didn't know it was that bad. I tilted my head. Bad how? Bad that your best friend was screwing half the town? Or bad that I found out? She swallowed hard. Look, she told us you were boring, controlling, that you didn't touch her anymore, that you were obsessed with work. She made it sound like I deserved it? I cut in. She winced.
No.
I mean, maybe. She's good at twisting things. I let out a cold laugh. Yeah, I know. Maddie sighed and looked me in the eye for the first time.
I'm sorry.
For laughing. For everything. I nodded just once. Apology accepted. Now go. She lingered. There's something else. I waited. She's been cheating with her boss, Evan, since last December. But that's not even the worst part. What is? She told him you were abusive, that you hit her once. Said it was self-defense if anything ever came up. My blood ran cold. She what? She lied, Jason. She needed a story. In case Evan's wife found out, or if it got messy. I stepped out onto the porch, fury boiling just beneath the surface. Do you know what kind of accusation that is? What that could do to me? She nodded quickly. That's why I came. She's unraveling, Jason. Losing control. If she's cornered, she'll drag you down too. I stared at Maddie, the woman who once laughed at my humiliation. And now she looked scared. Not for me, but for what Emily might do. I appreciate the warning, I said quietly. But you can leave now. She did. And as I stood alone on my porch, watching her car disappear down the road, a realization hit me like a freight train. Emily hadn't just broken our marriage. She was trying to rewrite it, twist the narrative, paint herself the victim, me the villain, all because I stopped playing the fool. And I knew in that moment this wasn't over. No, the real storm hadn't even started. Why the next morning. It wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was war, and I wasn't the same man she walked all over for years. That version of me died somewhere between the first voicemail and Maddie's confession. What rose in his place was someone colder, sharper, calculating. I didn't want revenge for the sake of ego. I wanted justice. I wanted her lies to collapse on her the way she tried to bury me beneath them. So I made a list. Not of the men, I already knew most of their names. Not of the places. The hotels, cars, girl nights, and fake spa weekends were etched into my memory like scars. I made a list of people who mattered to her. Her boss Evan, the one she slept with behind his wife's back. Her parents, the ones who always said I was too simple for their darling daughter. Her younger sister Kelly, the only one in that family who ever treated me like a human being. and her firm's HR manager because if she wanted to play with fire, I'd show her what real consequences felt like. It started with an email. Subject: professional misconduct and workplace affairs. I didn't sign it. Just attached a few carefully cropped screenshots of the FaceTime call and a timeline of Emily's affair with Evan, complete with dates, locations, and details only someone close to her could know. I wasn't messy. I wasn't aggressive. Just honest. Then I mailed a letter to her parents. Not typed. Handwritten. Cold. Polite. Devastating. I told them I appreciated the years of pretending we were family. But their daughter had been unfaithful for years and had even gone as far as accusing me of abuse to shield her affair. I included a printed transcript of Maddie's confession, her contact info, and ended it with, "I'm sure you'll find this hard to believe. I did too once." Then came Kelly. She called me the second she read the message I sent. "Jason? Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I had no idea." I believed her. Kelly was always the quiet one. The only person in that entire dysfunctional clan who ever spoke to me like I was more than a bank account with arms. "She's saying you cheated," she added after a pause. "Of course she was. She says you were sleeping with someone named Heather." I laughed. Hard. "Heather is my cousin." Kelly gasped. "Yeah," I said, tone flat. "She's not even being creative anymore." Kelly exhaled into the phone. "Do you want me to talk to her? Set things straight?"
No, Irraplia.
"I just wanted you to know the truth before she tried to sell you the lie." She paused again. Then, "I never liked the way she treated you." I didn't know what to say to that. So I just said, "Thanks." Then came the last card, the one she'd never expect. I called Evan's wife. Her name was Hannah. I'd only met her once at a Christmas event years ago. Sweet woman. Nervous smile. The kind who looked like she always suspected something but didn't want to face it. I didn't gloat. I didn't say it with anger. I just told her the truth. Gently. Directly. Everything I knew. There was silence on the line. Then she whispered, "Thank you," and hung up. That same evening, Emily came banging on my door again. But this time it wasn't anger in her eyes. It was panic. "You told them," she breathed. "Everyone." I didn't deny it. "You ruined my career." "No," I said. "You did that. My parents disowned me. You lied to them. Kelly won't speak to me. She's finally thinking for herself." She stepped closer, shaking. "You had no right." I met her eyes. "You had no right to wreck my life and then call me abusive to cover your tracks." She tried to speak. I shut the door. And I swear, that time I heard her break. Not scream, not curse. Break. But I didn't flinch. Because the storm had passed. And for the first time in years, I was standing in the sun. The silence after war is strange. You expect peace to feel calm, clean. But after everything I'd burned to the ground, the stillness felt more like a vacuum. Like all the noise, all the chaos, had been sucked out and replaced with a ringing emptiness that followed me from room to room. She stopped calling. Stopped showing up. Her presence evaporated. But the damage clung to everything she'd ever touched. The bed felt too big. The closet too empty. Even the fridge, which used to be cluttered with her oat milks and fake yogurts, looked like it was grieving. I thought I'd feel victorious. I thought the justice I served would taste sweet. But it didn't. It was bitter. I wasn't sure if that made me weak or just human. One night, maybe 2 weeks after I torched the illusion of our marriage, I was cleaning the garage. Not because it needed cleaning, it didn't, but because I needed a reason to be around things that couldn't lie to me. Tools, wood, grease, those things don't betray you. They break, sure, but at least they do it honestly. As I was sweeping near the back corner, I found a box I hadn't seen in years. It was labeled, "First Apartment." Curiosity got the better of me. Inside were old receipts, photos, concert tickets, and letters. Real handwritten letters. The kind you write when you're broke and stupid and believe love can fix anything. There was one from her, written in blue ink on a diner napkin. "Jason, you make me feel like I can breathe. Like I'm safe. I want this forever." I read it twice, then lit it on fire in an old coffee can. Watched it curl, blacken, and vanish. because those words weren't hers anymore. They belonged to the mask she wore to win me, not the woman who laughed about cheating on me with her friends. I didn't cry, but I didn't sleep that night either. The next day, Kelly called again. She's moved out of the city, she told me, staying with a friend in Arizona. Says she needs to find herself. Hope she finds a therapist instead. I muttered. Kelly chuckled, then softened. I know this might sound strange, but I'm proud of you. For what? For not letting her bury you. For fighting back without turning into something ugly. That one stuck with me, because that line had been razor thin. There were nights I wanted to leak every detail online, bury her with screenshots and timelines and names. But I didn't. Not for her. For me. Because I didn't want to become what she accused me of. I didn't want to live the rest of my life being right, but rotten. A few days later, a letter arrived. Not a text. Not an email. A real paper letter. In her handwriting. No return address. Inside was a single page. Neatly written.
No tears.
No drama. Jason, I won't beg. You don't owe me anything. But I want you to know something. I never thought you'd actually leave. You were always the one who stayed. Through my tantrums, my cold shoulders, my lies. Maybe I mistook your love for weakness. Maybe I wanted to see how far I could push until you broke. I found out. And I'm the one who's broken. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I finally see what I was. And what I lost. Emily. I read it once. Then folded it. Slid it into the fire pit out back. Watched it join the others. Not out of hatred, but because letting it sit around would mean giving her space in my life again. She didn't get that anymore. That was her true punishment. Not rage. Not revenge. Oblivion. She'd become a footnote in the story of a man who finally remembered how much he was worth. And this time, I wasn't going to forget. Life after a storm doesn't roar. It whispers. It started with small things. I changed the bed sheets. Threw out the ones she picked with some overpriced designer label. I replaced the lavender candles she loved with plain cedarwood. Even that scent, just the smell of it, felt like taking the space back. I didn't try to fill the silence with music or TV. I let it sit. First, it felt awkward, like I was waiting for her to walk in, drop her purse on the counter, and start talking about how her day had been exhausting, without ever asking about mine. But after a week, the silence turned into comfort. Like a cast iron pan seasoned by heat and time, it grew familiar, warm, reliable. I took a week off work. Not to travel. Not to find myself. Just to reset. I ran every morning. Ate whatever I wanted. Took long walks with no destination. I'd stop at the park, sit on a bench and just watch people. Couples walking dogs, kids chasing each other, old men feeding birds. It reminded me that the world didn't end just because mine had. One afternoon, I stopped at a hardware store and on impulse, bought cans of paint. The living room became a deep navy. The kitchen, stark white. The bedroom, charcoal gray. Clean, sharp, deliberate. A blank canvas doesn't always need new art. Sometimes, it just needs the old stains gone. It wasn't until the 5th day of this new silence that something strange happened. I laughed. Not a polite chuckle or some awkward reflex. A real, deep, chest-shaking laugh. I was sitting at the table eating eggs I'd oversalted, reading some article about ridiculous online dating bios, when one line caught me off guard. If you don't have a yacht or a jawline like Captain America, don't bother. It hit me hard. The absurdity, the entitlement, the way it somehow echoed my ex-wife's standards that kept evolving no matter how hard I tried to meet them. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my eggs. And in that moment, I realized I was coming back, not as the man I was before Emily, but as someone better, someone honest, someone real. Not 2 days later, I got a call from Brian, my best friend since college, the kind of guy who never got too involved in the drama but always had my back. "Let's get a drink," he said. "I've waited long enough to say, I told you so in person." I met him at a bar downtown, one we used to haunt when we were younger and dumber. He bought the first round, slid a whiskey across the table, and just grinned. I gotta admit, he said. I thought you'd fall apart. I took a sip. So did I. He leaned in. But you didn't. You torched the whole damn circus and walked out clean. We drank. We talked. We laughed about old times, bad decisions, worse haircuts. And then, around the third drink, he said something I didn't expect. You know, she didn't deserve your silence. You could have destroyed her publicly. I nodded. I almost did. Why didn't you? I looked at him and answered honestly. Because I didn't want her to be the center of my story anymore. Brian let that hang in the air for a minute, then raised his glass. To the next chapter. We clinked glasses. And just like that, I felt something shift again, not a crack, not a break, but a rebuild. Quiet, steady, strong. Later that night, walking home slightly buzzed and warm with closure, I passed a bookstore that had just closed. In the window was a sign that caught my eye. Some endings are just disguised beginnings. I stood there for a moment, staring at it, letting the weight of it settle. They were right. This wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of me. It's strange how endings don't come with a finish line. There's no applause.
No certificate.
Just a quiet understanding, somewhere deep in your chest, that something is finally over.